booktube, Sarah here, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with my June 2019 wrap-up and stats. Yay! I love doing these. I love these just as much as any of my other videos, but I love sitting down here and talking to you guys about it, but I do love compiling my stats at the end of every month. It's so much fun. I'm not generally a numbers person. I'm not a math person, but these kind of numbers I really do enjoy. So this should be a lot of fun. So I'm going to go through my stats for all the books that I read this month, and then I'm going to talk about some of the events and things I'm participating in each month and over the course of the year. And then I'm going to tell you guys what my top 5 books of the month were. So let's jump right in and get started. So for my stats, I read 31 books this month. Fantastic. For my Goodreads goal, I am 3 books ahead of schedule. I have read 183 books out of the 365 books that I set myself as my goal for this year. That puts me at 50% of my goal complete. So at halfway through the year, I'm at 50% done. Not too shabby. No 5-star reads this month, but here are the rest of my star ratings. 2 4.5-star books, 10 4-star books, 9 3.5-star books, 6 3-star, 2 2.5-star, 1 2-star, and 1 1.5-star. So I did have a couple of really not so great books this month. I talked about both those books in my last weekly wrap-up. I will leave link to all of my weekly wrap-ups in the description box below. So if you guys want to go ahead and jump over and see any of the books that I talked about, those videos are all time-stamped as well. So in case you want to just go and just check out a single review, please feel free to do so. Again, I will link those in the description box below. This was a very contemporary romance heavy month, a cowboy contemporary romance heavy month. I think, okay, so I read 24 contemporary romances. I think at least half of those were cowboy romances, which is not a hardship, believe me. I read 4 middle grade fiction novels. I read 2 historical romances and 1 romantic suspense novel. From the Harlequin imprints, I do like keeping track of which imprints I actually read from. And I read 2 duets, 2 super romance, 1 blaze, 1 desire, and 1 intrigue. I read 24 books that were considered adult books, 4 middle grade, 2 new adult, and 1 YA. I read 4 books published in the 1990s, 6 published in the 2000s, 13 published between 2010 and 2018, and 8 books published in 2019. So 8 published this year. That's fantastic. I listened to 13 books on audio. I read 13 ebooks, 4 mass market paperbacks, and 1 hardcover novel this month. All 31 of the books that I read were full-length novels. There were no novellas or anything at all like that. Of all the books that I read, 22 of them were part of a series, and 9 of them were standalone, so not too shabby. Of those 22 that were part of a series, 6 were new series that I started. 15 were part of ongoing series, so that's good, and 1 series I DNF'd. That is the book that got a 1.5-star rating from me. It was Paper Princess by Aaron Watt, which if you, again, watch my last weekly reads, you can hear the 10-minute rant I went about on this book. So if you're interested, please go ahead and check that out. But I decided after I finished this book that I was DNFing this series. I was not going to continue with it. So I did mark it as such. I read a grand total of 9,659 pages in the month of June, averaging out to about 312 pages a day. Not too shabby. So challenges and events. I've got 4 different challenges and events that I'm kind of doing over the course of each month and the course of the year. So the first one is the Triple RC Monthly Challenge. That is the Romance Readers Reading Group on Goodreads. Every month they post a new challenge and they give you 10 different prompts, and you need to pick a book for each prompt. Every month I do all 10 prompts, and this is I have now completed 3 years and 6 months of doing this challenge without missing a month, or without missing a book in a month. So I'm having fun keeping track of that stat too, of how long I've been doing it, because I find it interesting, like how long I have been participating and how long I've been doing it. I keep doing the debate because I know that they've put the call out a couple times to actually host this challenge. You have to have been a member of the group for so long, and I'm pretty sure I meet the criteria. But I think it would be a lot of fun to put together a couple of these challenges. So I don't know, I'm debating. We'll see. I want to see exactly what's involved, so I might email them or send them a DM and ask. But yeah, so for 3 years and 6 months I've participated in this, fantastic. I am also participating in Romanceopoly, which is hosted by the girls at the Under the Cover book blog and Jess from Peace Love Books. I'll leave a link to the Triple RC Challenge as well as Romanceopoly in the description box below as well. So this is a year-long challenge where you actually have a Monopoly type board and you do different challenges as you go around the board. So I got 3 books for June read for Romanceopoly, and they were Hope Flames by Jackie Burton. This is the first book in the Hope series. This was for the category of Sweet Street, which is, I think you had to read a contemporary romance. That's my bread and butter, guys. The next one was the aforementioned horrible novel Paper Princess by Aaron Watt. First book in the Royal series. This was for the Taxi Square, where you had to read a book recommended by either one of the girls at the Under the Cover book blog or Jess from Peace Love Books. And I don't remember who recommended this one or who had it on the recommendations, but I read it, I didn't like it, end of story. And last but not least, The Sweetest Seduction, book number 1 in the Kelly Brothers series. This was for Subway Uptown, where you had to read a book that featured a chef or foodie type romance. And this one, the female lead was a chef. The next challenge that I'm doing is my own personal Stacking the Series challenge. I only got 3 books done for it this month. This was actually a heavy month that I had for arcs. So that's why there was a lot of, that's why this one kind of fell to the wayside a bit. But I will be upping the stakes over the next few months to try and play catch up. And I mentioned this in another video, I think it was my TBR for July, that I want to get all of my Stacking the Series books read by November. Like, I have them all completed by the end of November, because in December I want to focus only on holiday themed books, and none of the books in my Stacking the Series challenge end in Christmas books. So I can't be reading those holiday books, like, do you know what I mean? It's a personal challenge I'm giving myself, so let's see if I can do it. But anyway, so I got 3 of them read. I still have only completed 1 out of the 11 levels that I have, but I've read 29 out of the 66 books so far. I think in July I am scheduled to read 7 or 8 for my Stacking the Series challenge, so I will get a lot of them knocked off at that point. But this month, or for June, I read Only His by Susan Mallery, book number 6 in the Fool's Gold series. I read A Virgin River Christmas by Robin Carr, book 4 in the Virgin River series. Did not care for this book. This is the one that got the 2-star rating from me. The Virgin River series at the beginning has not been that great to me, and or personally I haven't found it that fantastic. I prefer Robin Carr's newer stuff much more than this series, but I did read ahead. Like, I think the reason I'm doing this one is because I read book 11 last year and I enjoyed it. So now I'm going back to catch up to book 11, and book 11 was good. So as the series goes on, I think it's going to continuously get better. But these first so many books just were not great. My main issue with this one is that I could not stand the female lead in this book. And last but not least, I read A Creed in Stone Creek by Linda Lael Miller, book number 5 in the Montana Creed series. Really enjoyed this one. Great cowboy romance. And the last event that I am participating in for the month of June is, of course, the Summer Romance Book Bingo. Yay! I'm going to stick my card up here so you guys can see at what point I'm at right now. My goal over the course of the summer is to fill 1 card. So I've got 8 of the spots filled so far, so I will let you know what books I read. So the first one was Only His by Susan Mallery. This was for the category of spell the word sun on the cover, and Susan, S-U-S-A-N, you can get the word sun out of Susan. Unleashed by Diana Palmer. This was for a cowboy romance, obviously. For Cowboy to the Core by Maisie Yates. This one was for a summer 2019 release. This came out in June. Wyoming Cowboy Sniper by Nicole Helm. This one was for a book published in 2019. For Along for the Ride, which I loved. I'll talk about that more in a minute. By Sarah Desson. This is for an author that shares your same first name, Sarah and Sarah. As I think I pointed out before, for this category as well, for the author that shares your name, the name can be a different spelling. For example, for my name, Sarah, it can be with an H or without an H. If your name is Lindsay and you spell it L-Y-N-D-S-A-Y, but the author's name is L-I-N-D-S-A-Y, I will absolutely accept that as well. So, you know, I mean, there is some play in there. Don't feel, you know, that you're pulled in by the way your name is spelt. Do you know what I mean? Healing Dr. Alexander by Tracy Wolff. This book was for the medical romance category. Like One in the Family, this one, oh, I didn't write down who this one was by. I believe it was Kimberly Van Meter, if I'm remembering correctly, but this one was for the Harlequin / Mills and Boon imprint. Roomies by Christina Lauren, which I really, really enjoyed. This was a workplace romance category. And of course, I read Hot in Hellcat, say that 3 times fast. Hot in Hellcat Canyon by Julianne Long. This was our group read for the month, and I really, really enjoyed this one as well. So let's talk about my top 5 books of the month. So this is in order, going from lowest to highest. So book number 5 was Cowboy to the Core by Maisie Yates. I gave this one 4 stars. This was such an enjoyable read. Oh my gosh. So when you guys see this video, I will not have reviewed this book yet for you. I will get more into this book when I do my weekly review on Saturday, when that video goes up on Saturday, but please note, I loved this book so much. It was so, so good. If you are reading through the Gold Valley series, this one is going to be great because Jamie, our female lead in this book, you met way back in book number 1, and I just love when you trace a character through different books, and then they finally get their own book. That's what makes this one spectacular. Next up, coming in at number 4, is Meet Cute by Helena Hunting. This one I also gave 4 stars to. This one is a mixed bag to some people. Mixed bag in the term of reviews. People either loved it or they hated it, or they really disliked it. Now, I have not read anything else by Helena Hunting, but I gather this is a bit of a departure than what she typically writes. I personally really enjoyed it. It wasn't, like, you look at that cover, and I can see where some people were a little like, because you look at that cover and you think it's going to be this adorably cute, meet cute, you know, contemporary romance, and there are some very heavy issues contained within this book. But it was so well done. I really liked both of the characters, and I really, really enjoyed this one. Coming in at number 3, Roomies by Christina Lauren. Christina Lauren is quickly becoming a new favorite author of mine. She is, of course, a writing duo. It is a writing duo of 2 people. And I am loving their books right now. I think this is the 2nd book of Christina Lauren's that I've read, because I read Dating You, Hating You, and now I've read this one. And this one was so good. And if I can recommend this one on audio, I absolutely do. Because I listened to it on audio from my library. And the narrator, the male lead in this book, is actually Irish. And our narrator does a great job with an Irish accent. And I thought it was so super fantastic. If you are reading Christina Lauren, if you're not too sure, this one does get a little spicy, but it was so, excuse me, I've got the hiccups. It was so, so good. I really, really loved it. Oh, excuse me, again, the hiccups. Coming in at number 2, in the number 2 spot, is Sweet Summer Sunset by Dolores Foss, and this one got 4.5 stars from me. I talked about this one just last week in my weekly reviews. I loved this book so, so much. The story of Nico and Eden, I thought it was absolutely adorable. But beyond that, the story of Piper, Nico's adopted sister, it was so wonderful. Just a great, great story. Dolores Fawson is so well known for her romantic suspense novels that she does for the Harlequin Intrigue line, that this series, this Coldwater, Texas series, is a bit of a departure for her, where it's just strict contemporary romance. And it's so well done. She does it brilliantly. These books get very hot and spicy, and they are a lot of fun. And coming in my number 1 spot, my favorite book of the month was Along for the Ride by Sarah Dessen. This is a YA novel. I know, go figure from me. Do I have it over here anywhere? No, I don't. I thought I did. Sorry. The picture will be up here, obviously. This book was just wonderful. This is the 2nd time I read through this one. And it is a great coming-of-age story. It takes place over the summer between high school and college, about a girl whose parents are divorced, and she goes to spend the summer with her dad and his new wife and her new half-sister, and the boy that she meets and the friends that she makes, and how she learns more about herself and her family, and yeah, and taking chances. It was amazing. I totally recommend it. Such a good novel. It's what I think YA should be, where it's, in a way, it's wholesome. You know, there is no adult content in this. You know, there are things that get discussed, but there's nothing that actually happens. You know, there is drinking involved with these teenagers, but I mean, it is what it is. But still, at the end of the day, this is a book that if I had a teenager, a 13, 14, 15-year-old, I would feel absolutely comfortable handing it to them and letting them read it. I really, really loved it, and I absolutely recommend it. But yeah, really, really fantastic. So anyway, guys, that is all that I have for this video. I do hope that you guys enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments below, what was your favorite book that you read in the month of June? And are you participating in the Summer Romance Book Bingo, and how are you doing so far? How many squares have you done? I know, Mandy, if you're watching this, you've probably finished a card already. I keep seeing her posting on Instagram. Her goal is to finish a card a month, and God bless her. I hope she can do it. But anyway, guys, that's all I have. I will see you all in my next video. Until then, take care and happy reading, everybody. Bye.